most of the real innovation in the electronics world comes from small companies. Think about how many really cool technologies have popped up out of one startup or another. Yeah, the little guys are bringing it. And nowhere is productivity more important than in a small, innovative team. But when it comes to design tools, the things we need to actually be the most productive, it feels to me like the huge companies get all the love. The big teams with their huge budgets get all the really fancy stuff, and those of us in the smaller, more nimble teams are usually left to fend for ourselves with dumbed-down, cheapo tools. Hi, I'm Amelia Dalton, host of Chalk Talk. Luckily, Mentor Graphics doesn't think the big teams should get all the good tools, and they've done a major upgrade to their popular PADS design tool suite, with some awesome features that will bring big company productivity power to those of us in smaller design teams. Yes! My guest is Jim Martens from Mentor Graphics, and we're going to spend some time looking at the new PADS VX. Before we get started, remember to click that link. There you can download a free white paper that further expands on this topic.
Hi, Jim. Thanks so much for joining me again.
Hi, Amelia. Thanks for inviting me.
For those in my audience who don't know, give us an overview of what PADS is.
Absolutely. PADS has great brand recognition in the industry, but what PADS has evolved over time. PADS is designed for you, electrical engineers and PCB designers, in mind. PADS stands for Personal Automated Design System, with all the features you need to design your product, from logic definition and part selection to simulation and analysis to PC board layout to what your end goal really is, a manufactured end product. PADS has evolved from PADS layout to what it is today, a full flow design system that offers best-in-class functionality at each phase of the design process. Not just PCB layout, which many people think about when they hear PADS. Whether you are a designer in a small company or an independent consultant to an R&D group member in a Fortune 100 company, with PADS, you'll be using the #1 desktop PCB application in the world. We have a huge, loyal global user community that you are or can be a member of, and take advantage of all this community has to offer. From service bureaus and consultants to community forums for peer-to-peer support, to the worldwide network of PADS AEs and a support team to keep you productive.
Fantastic. Okay, Jim, let's start talking about PADS VX. What's new in VX?
Well, at a high level, the PADS VX release addresses several themes that are important to our customers and design professionals.
Cool.
We focused on ease of use and ease of learning. A new correct by design methodology is introduced. Productivity is a focus, reducing design spins and saving you money.
Excellent.
Addressing your technology challenges and making sure you have better information throughout the design process is also addressed.
Cool.
And making sure PADS is enabled to take you into the future is also a key theme.
Excellent. So I think I got these themes down. Let's talk about some specific features.
All right, well, we took our customers' needs as the roadmap. The PADS VX release introduces a set of new and powerful capabilities. We put great emphasis into the libraries for this release. From a proven IPC standard starter library, component supplier search, integrated central database that makes sure all data is synchronized at all times, and broad library management utilities. Schematic Design is not only powerful, but simple and intuitive. Constraint Management makes the designer's workday a lot easier. No more starting from scratch.
Excellent.
Design Archive with graphical and data comparisons take the design to the next level of efficiency. I'll talk more about each of these bullets in today's discussion.
Great. So, Jim, before you dig into the bits and bytes here, what's this new Mentor PCB platform all about?
Well, that's a great question, Amelia, and a big part of what the PADS VX release is all about. Competitive desktop tools are based on decades-old platforms that will, necessarily, hit the wall in future development. The Mentor VX platform delivers an updated infrastructure and database that positions our tools for the future.
Okay.
PADS VX benefits from years of R&D that go into continuing development of Mentor Graphics' flagship system design solutions, including XDX Designer, Hyperlinks, and Expedition.
Cool, okay.
The VX platform will enable us to deliver new features and functionality faster as a result of the new integrated database, infrastructure updates, and API advancements. The new correct by design methodology will make our customers more productive by entering data once and seamlessly propagating this data throughout the flow. This infrastructure gives PADS users the ability to scale up to additional functionality, whether it's within the PADS flow or even into the Expedition flow if your technology and infrastructure requirements change.
Okay, so Jim, you mentioned there's quite a bit of emphasis on libraries. What's new in this realm?
You're absolutely right. There's been a huge investment in the library area of PADS VX. First, we're delivering a new starter library of IPC-compliant footprints, along with part library and schematic symbols. Before we put any effort into this new starter library, I talked to many users out there, mostly competitive tools, whose vendors deliver, in some cases, hundreds of thousands of library parts.
Wow, okay.
But in talking to these customers, one thing was consistent. None of them use these libraries.
Okay.
Either they didn't trust them, or had tried some and found they were incorrect. We all know if you don't start with good data, the design is destined to fail.
Absolutely.
So we needed to deliver libraries our customers could count on and use. We formed a partnership with Optimum Design Associates, a large engineering services company who uses these libraries that we now deliver in their own business. So they are proven in live designs. We also deliver tools to help you search through the library to help you find the one that's best for your application.
Excellent.
This library is available for download to our customers on pads.com.
Okay, cool.
There will be annual updates to this library, so it's not a one-time, here's a library. We'll keep it updated with new parts.
Great. What if I have a component that's not in my library? What do we do then?
That's a real-life scenario and a good question.
Sure.
So the second thing we're doing with libraries is in regard to new parts. For the engineers out there, how do you select the parts for your design? Most of you probably go to a component supplier's website, do a search, find a component, then go to another vendor's site, do the same search, probably to compare cost, delivery, what's in stock, and so on. We are delivering a web portal that allows you to parametrically enter your requirements and will automatically search supported component vendors simultaneously. At any time, you can select a part and download the symbol and parametric information for that part, which can be downloaded directly into the PADS component management system, allowing you to continue your design immediately. This web app is standalone for PADS VX, but will be available about the same time.
Very cool. So, I still have to build the footprint, right, Jim? What then?
Right, so with new parts, you're right, you need a new footprint or new land pattern.
Yeah.
So the next thing we're doing in the PADS VX release is adding Land Pattern Creator as core functionality.
Excellent.
The Land Pattern Wizard, renamed to Land Pattern Creator now, has been available for additional costs with the PADS for several years now. With PADS VX, it is now included with each and every PADS layout bundle or suite. This tool allows you to easily and quickly build land patterns or PADS decals parametrically to IPC standards.
Excellent.
We have customers who report they speed up part creation by up to 89% over manual part editing.
Wow. That's quite a bit of stuff to add to the library arena. You got anything else cool to throw my way?
Oh, there's more coming.
Excellent.
There sure is. We are giving our users the option to store all their libraries in a new central library.
Okay.
PADS today has unmanaged libraries, which with separate files for PADS decals, parts, schematic symbols, and drafting objects. For the decals, parts, and symbols, there really is no association between them.
Yeah.
So PADS VX delivers a central library, which is a single library where all the entities are stored with all the associations created.
Okay.
User-defined partitions can be created to help to organize your library the way you want to. For example, some customers separate the libraries by component type, while others do it by manufacturer. Solid migration paths are in place to move data from other libraries, such as from competitive flows or PADS logic, into the central library, and this library is tightly integrated with the PADS component management system.
Okay.
And lastly, how you manage the data in the central library is different.
Okay.
Library Manager provides a single control center for library part development and allows for the import and export of parts data, allowing you to create and access the libraries from the central location.
Nice.
A viewable navigation tree to review part relationships provides a single entry point for the creation of all elements of the logical to physical mapping of a PCB part data. You still use the native PADS decal and part editors to create new components, but they are now integrated and launched from Library Manager, providing built-in consistency and verification.
I see. Okay.
So, to summarize all that, with PADS VX, we deliver new, proven starter libraries. We deliver a web app to access multiple component supplier websites for new component selection and immediate use. All PADS users now receive the Land Pattern Creator as core functionality, and we introduce a new way to store and manage your libraries with a central library and Library Manager.
Excellent. So my design process always starts with schematics. Anything new going on with schematics, Jim?
Absolutely. This is a huge release for XDX Designer. In PADS 9.5, our last release, XDX Designer released phase 1 of a major effort to improve usability and productivity.
Okay.
The focus was on an updated, more modern UI and a better out-of-the-box experience for the users. Our customers gave us great feedback on those improvements. In PADS VX, we're introducing phase 2, and the feedback from beta customers and early adopters has been overwhelming. This phase focuses on expanded ease of use and design automation to improve productivity. I could do an hour on what's new in DX Designer, so I'm just going to summarize what's new today.
Okay. I understand the overview, Jim, but let's jump into some specifics.
So we can come up with all this great new functionality, but if it's too difficult to learn and use, engineers, designers won't try it. So giving the users the help when and where they need it to try a new feature is very important to us. As designers and engineers, we get in the comfort zone and only use certain features.
Right.
So we've come up with this concept of extended or progressive tool tips. We're all familiar with bubble help, where you hover the cursor over an icon and it tells you what it is. We have this extended or progressive view. Now, if you hover a little longer, it gives you a little longer description and a video demonstration of that feature. Here in this demonstration, again, we hovered over creating a bus. Quick definition of what a bus is. Hover longer, you get the step-by-step direction and a video animation of how to do it. So we're going to make it much easier for designers, engineers to try these new features and commands that are out of their comfort zone.
Cool.
Another area of focus for this release in the XDX Designer is automated manual routing, new automated manual routing.
Okay.
That's something Mentor knows something about, routing. From our PCB tools, we know what routing is all about, and let's bring some of that concept of automatic routing or more powerful interactive routing to the schematic.
Yeah. So, Jim, can you give me an example of how this plays out?
So a good example of this is how we route connections. In schematics, wiring a schematic from part to part has always been a point and click, one click at a time. Well, let's add some of that automatic routing know-how that Mentor knows all about.
Excellent.
Here you can see in these address buses, you just have to select one set of them, select where you want them to be routed to, and not just one at a time, but multiple wires can be routed automatically. And again, we're bringing that technology that we know from the PCB into the schematic world.
Okay, cool, Jim. Any more goodies in this schematic area?
Lots more in this release. Let me talk about the graphical rule checkers.
Okay.
As we all know, the schematic is a required piece of final documentation for the end product. It needs to be clean and readable by the Q&A department, assembly, technicians, other groups within your company, and in many cases, the end customer. To help address the delivery of a clean schematic, in the last release of XDX Designer, we delivered a batch graphical rule checker. PADS VX takes us a step further with dynamic graphical rule checking. It will dynamically let you know if you are overlapping objects such as nets, components, or labels. If the objects are out of alignment, or if you have off-grid pins or nets.
All right.
All these are aesthetic issues, but need, or at least should, be cleaned up before you can say you're done.
Yeah.
The dynamic graphical rule checker will let you get it done right the first time. There should be no need to come back once the design is complete and spend hours just to clean it up. There's much, much more new in DX Designer. I suggest you go to pads.com to see a full list of new features.
Okay, so one of my biggest challenges is dealing with constraints. How are you going to make my life easier in that space, Jim?
You're right, constraints is a headache for many, many users out there.
Yeah.
As designs become more complex, the number of constraints to set, track, and verify also increases. This slows down the design process while everyone's goal is shorter time to market. To address this, a new spreadsheet-based constraint management system has been added. Constraint management consists of a single tool for managing performance and manufacturability constraints that has been integrated with schematic capture, layout, and router to form a constraints-driven PCB design flow. This allows multiple users to collaborate on the design of constraints. Constraint management supports a wide range of constraint types, including the typical physical manufacturing and assembly constraints such as V assignments, net classes, clearances, and more. It also supports constraints for managing electrical signal integrity such as max and min length, match lengths, and differential pairs. Features of the tool allow the user to develop, manage, and verify large constraint sets more easily than before by both the schematic and layout users. Constraint management works throughout the flow. Users editing the schematic can also enter design constraints that are then immediately available to the layout user. And the other way around too. The layout user can enter constraints and the schematic user will see them right away due to the integrated database.
Okay.
We utilize a spreadsheet-based paradigm for most of the constraints to help the user get things done quickly. Several types of filters can be applied to allow the user to focus on a specific set of objects, such as nets and/or constraints. Users can verify constraints directly in the tool as well. By importing actual data from the layout, users can see the constraints and actual lengths in adjacent columns, and the tool will highlight any actuals that do not meet the constraints, and will highlight differently if the actual is within a defined tolerance of the actual. This allows the user who are not directly involved in the physical layout to do this verification. Another feature of the new Constraint Manager is the ability to automatically assign differential pairs based on the naming conventions you use on your schematic.
So, Jim, now how does this all tie in together?
Well, historically, the design engineer and the PCB designer work independently from one another.
Right.
Neither has any true idea what the other one may be modifying on the schematic or layout.
It's true.
Typically, once the engineer has made some changes to the schematic, for example, he or she will send the ASCII change file to the designer or an email saying, I have some changes, go ahead and upload them when you have a chance.
Yeah.
This change may require the designer to take 2 steps back to take 1 step forward, maybe wasting days of work.
It's true.
The PADS VX releases a direct, synchronized connection between the schematic and layout databases. It's not a single massive database, it's truly synchronized.
Excellent.
Because of this data synchronization, there's no need to move, modify, manipulate, or upload ASCII files. The PADS VX release delivers real-time notification of a change to part list, connectivity, or constraints made on either the schematic or layout.
Cool.
Indicator lights in the lower right corner of XDX Designer or PADS layout will change color as soon as the change is made.
Oh, okay.
Then, when the engineer or designer is ready, they can synchronize the design with a single button hit, never any ASCII files to worry about.
Excellent.
The true benefit is that you are instantly notified of any change. You can immediately, or at your convenience, incorporate that change. As engineers and designers, you are always assured of using the most up-to-date, current design data.
Okay. I'm done with my project, and one of the challenges is always archiving it so I can go back and do changes. What do you got for me here?
We're introducing Design Archive in PADS VX.
Excellent.
PADS Design Archive is much more than a backup or archiving tool. Of course, it starts with the creation of an archive, which is stored in a secure vault on your PC or anywhere on the network. Archives are auto-numbered and understands the path of design or the parent-child relationship. Design Archive also has powerful search capabilities, allowing you to search through your archive for specific versions without having to open the archive in the native authoring tool, either PADS schematic or layout. With Design Archive, the user can quickly and easily create a backup or a checkpoint of all design data at any time. Then view the archive in a single user interface, display the schematic and layout with cross-probing without taking a license for these tools. The real value of Design Archive is with its comparison capabilities, either graphical or data comparisons to find differences. How many times have you wondered what are the differences between 2 designs? Not consecutive designs, say version 2 and 3, but any 2 versions, maybe version 2 and 7. PADS Design Archive will allow you to do exactly this. Another differentiator with Design Archive is its report capabilities. HTML-based difference reports between 2 archives can be created easily with detailed descriptions of the changes. There are links from the reports that will graphically zoom to the graphical differences that are detected.
Cool.
These messages are in clear and concise English, not some programming language that us engineers and designers can't decipher.
Thank you.
Design Archive provides strong capabilities to ensure the correct review content is captured and key issues are highlighted. The redline mode allows you to add text and graphical items and then associate them with design objects for easy review. Selecting an object in the redline pane will automatically zoom to that area of the design where the association design object resides. Sticky notes like post-it notes, arrows, free text, and shapes can all be added to both the schematic and PCB views.
Cool.
Markup data can be organized by topic, and multiple users are able to add this data, thus ensuring the exact design review intent is captured accurately.
All right, Jim, bring this bad boy home. Can you recap for me just a tad?
I will. The PADS VX release from Mentor Graphics is a huge step forward for us and our customers. With a new Mentor PCB platform with its updated software infrastructure, we are positioned to incorporate new technology quicker today and in the future. The correct design methodology will help customers achieve first-time success with their designs. And with all the new enhancements delivered with PADS VX, from the synchronized databases, all the library focus, major enhancements to XDX Designer to Design Archive, PADS continues to be the leader in desktop design.
All right. Well, I think that's all I have time for today. Thank you so much for joining me, Jim. It's always a pleasure speaking with you.
It has been a pleasure. Thank you.
Before we go, don't forget to click that link. There you can download a free white paper that further expands on this topic. For Chalk Talks, I'm Amelia Dalton. For more Chalk Talks, check out the EE Journal YouTube channel or the on-demand section on eejournal.com.